Blessings, beautiful light beings. So, I would say this is about my 10th take here. And for many reasons, I am okay with restarting many times. A lot of that is, oh gosh, like my ego mind gets to me, okay? So why I'm trying to be like super profesh, it's like not like how I feel I am more guided is just really being raw, and that might be a little rough around the edges, and I'm okay with that because whoever I resonate with is exactly who I'm meant to resonate with. So I'm done trying to trying, not a word I like. I am done working on a mask, and I'm just going to be me here because that's all I know how to be. So the message that has been wanting to come through, that has been able to make it through because I've been too worried thinking about how I am looking and presenting the information. So right now we are at a big monumental time. We are at the precipice of in what I feel, a collective awakening. People have been saying this has been happening for a while, and it has been, because it's never, energy ebbs and flows. It ebbs and flows. It's the cycle of life. It is not like a start and a beginning. It is a flowing in and a little flowing or around, and however you want to feel it. It is not black and white or right or left or good or bad. So here there is, I'm doing a new mini series here, which is like intuitive awakening. Okay, so I don't know if that's what I'm going to call it. This is how I'm being drawn to present this, is just a segment on what the awakening process is and how to integrate back into society and how to step into your role as a light worker / healer / whatever label you put on there. It doesn't matter the label in actuality, because it's just all perfect. It's just a label. Because in truth, nothing can define what you actually are. So let's start at the very beginning. I just think of the sound of music. Let's start at the very beginning. Thanks. Okay, so we are born into this world, and we are born and we think that it's a blank slate. In actuality, we are not a blank slate when we are born. While we are in our mother's womb, whatever our mother experiences, while we are developing, if our mother is experiencing depression or trauma, or she has a very high stressful life that is happening, those emotions create a chemistry within our mother's body that gets imprinted into our DNA as we are being formed. So I mean, think about the things that were happening when your mother was pregnant with you. And most of the time, so if we're thinking of terms of energy, our root, our base chakra, is the first to start to develop. And that all has to do with our physical safety, our physical security, and our stability. And so if our mother was in distress, or if our mother was in harm's way, or depending on whatever was going on, even if being super very sick and not being able to eat or keep anything down, that has an effect on how the baby is formed. So we come into this world already with whatever our mom was going through. And if we want to take it even further back, we think about our mom and what our maternal grandmothers were going through when they were pregnant with our moms. So no wonder why most of society is really working from a space of fight or flight. It is a lot of survival going on in the world, and that is what is being shaken up. Survival is more like push or get pushed, kill or be killed. It is like stepping on others to get what you want or to get what you think you need. It is the survival is like, I'm gonna take this all and I'm not gonna share because I work so hard for all of this and you need to work harder. Survival and also look like the opposite of that. So another survival mindset would be, I have to, or give it to me. I was so like so this is actually this is like a victim mentality. So it is like, you know, being so upset over what had happened to you that you take and take and take and take and take and take. So because you feel that you are owed something. So these are all the constructs of what is being exposed at this time in our society. And I mean, what I just described as the survival constructs, the fight or flight, or stepping on others to get what you need because you don't think that there will be enough, or you don't think that other people work as hard as you. This is everywhere, in all walks of life, and in all cultures, in the American culture, in all diversity. So when we are born, we already are imprinted with the survival, fight or flight mentality. So imagine now you are a baby and you are relying on this person who may, and as much as this mom may or want to be a mom or loves being a mom, she maybe emotionally doesn't know how to do that. During the first 18 months of life, like having the physical contact and the nurturing part of you is really important. It is where all of it is the base for our developmental abilities. It is for how the rest of our relationships are formed. How we go about getting our needs met is all formed within the first 7 years, but really the core of it all is in the first 18 months. So if you are say you're a baby of like 5 other siblings, you just might not get enough attention, not because you weren't loved, but just because it is a lot for a mom to do. And so there will be some sort of learning how to get your needs met above your siblings, you know, learning how to, and some people call it manipulation. Is not like when babies cry, or even toddlers, when any type of reaction it's because they have a need that needs to get met. If they're crying, you know, and especially this is like when babies, you used to be told to like let babies cry it out. Well, now research has shown that actually creates a like anxiety attachment style. So that would be meaning that if you have to cry yourself to sleep, I mean, I know it's like kind of overwhelming, but once you think about it and you're able to understand this more, it really makes so much sense out of what you're experiencing and how other people also react and behave to each other as well. So if we think about it, then babies, even as my son, I remember with my son, being told to just let him cry it out. Like, if he's eating every 4 hours and the schedule, like, stick to the schedule. Like, it just goes against the human biology. It's not a set in stone black and white thing of we're all going to be hungry at the same time. We're all going to have thirsty. We're all going to be tired and need this exact amount of sleep. So it's really kind of rigged from the beginning, to be honest. It's if we were not nurtured, fed, or left to cry ourselves to sleep, or left any of that out, in the slightest bit, there becomes an attachment. Sorry, I just was hearing something. There becomes different ways in how we learn to connect with individuals. So why is this connected to the awakening process? Well, basically, when we as we are growing up, right? So as we are growing up, we learn how to protect ourselves. Our ego is the part that asks for what we want. Our ego is the part that protects us from danger. Our ego is the part that tells us that we will never be safe and we have to do what we need to do to get what we need to survive. And ego is all about survival. Ego wants a yes or no answer because it doesn't like not knowing if you're going to be taken care of. So when we come to this stage in our journey, in our spiritual journey, you will hear like egos being talked about, and shadow work, and the constructed ego, and dissolving the ego and whatnot. And in actuality, we wouldn't be here if it was for the ego. And so in embracing and understanding that the ego, which is also the mind that tries to overrule the heart and blocks the heart from feeling and connecting and from conversing with others, once we become to this awakening process, we learn about all of the ego, and we hear it's bad and it does this, and it's, it's a part of you. It wants you to be safe. It is there to protect you, to fight for you, to get you what you need. It doesn't want to feel the pain, the perceived pain that the external world brings. So the ego starts to freak out, basically. And when we become awakened, we start to see through the egos. We start to see through our heart. Now, this is why I say, like, you're losing your mind. Good. Because our society has led with our mind for so long. And if you look around, I mean, people always complain about nobody will ever be happy here, okay? Like, not everybody. There will always be something that people find to be upset about. And this just, it's like, okay, so, I mean, doesn't there have to be a point when the external world, when you're like, damn, joke is on me, like nothing's changed in my lifetime, and honestly, when have I been like, oh, our society is great right now? Has there really been a time when you haven't been concerned about war or the poor, poverty, nourishment, or fighting for what you think is yours, or good versus bad, or it just doesn't end, right? So why do people start to think that will ever end? It won't. Because people continue to participate in the cycles. So this is what the awakening does. It helps dissolve the cycle that is happening at the bigger scale. And so that is what we start to lose our mind. We start to see through all of the things that we once thought were there, not there. We start to see through all of the veils that the mind told us. We start to see the lies that we told ourselves. We start to see the truth for what it really is. We start to feel empty. We recognize that everything around us has no fucking meaning. And what you thought you were stable and secure in is just a facade. And that is what we would call a dark night of the soul. This is, some people have a quite a quick catalytic awakening where it happens super fast, also called a Kundalini awakening, which is, if you are familiar with Reiki and chakras, the Kundalini is the energy that is locked and trapped in down in your root chakra, which is all, again, your safety, security, and stability, that this is all coiled away. And so once you have an experience, whether that is a death of a loved one, a near-death experience, a health crisis, or you lose a job, or you lose a house, or any of those things can be a catalytic experience in order for this energy to be released through you and to have all of your chakras, your energy systems, to be activated into seeing a little bit more clearly. And so you start to question everything, like, my job doesn't keep me happy. Why do we have all these things? This isn't like, actually, is this actually life? Like, I am working how much to just not even enjoy what I make after work. And so we realize that we're kind of in this trap, in this cycle. And then, as empowering as that can be, this is really where a lot of questions start to arise. So this is where the constructs comes in, the old paradigms, the things that we are transcending and learning. All of, for me, when I was a very quick catalytic experience where within a month or two, I had to leave my job. I had started looking and changed my whole career path. I started looking, I started seeing things. The number one thing is, I don't know what love is. What is unconditional love? I have been putting conditions on everything. If I don't even know what unconditional love is, what have I been experiencing? Who have I been? It's really, again, a mind-blowing experience. And so this happens, and all the while this happens, the universe wants to share the excitement with you and sends all these amazing signs and synchronicities, and you get all of these sensations, and you're hypersensitive and aware of all these things around you, and you're like, I can't possibly explain this to people. People are going to think I'm fucking crazy. And yes, people that haven't experienced that might think you're a little out of it. And that is okay. That is so okay, because there are so many of us out there that can relate and resonate with all of that, with that energy, and know how to work with that. And so here we are, learning that all that we had thought we were was not really what it is. And all of the ways that we used to get our needs met, or what we thought were our needs met, our ego, we start to examine all of those. Our values become in question, our morals become in question, our belief systems come in question, our everything becomes in question. And it goes all the way back to even before childhood, to be honest with you, to whatever our mom was experiencing, you know. And so if you relate to this depth of an awakening, you are here to also unpack, unload, and clear the collective trauma and ancestral lineage, to be able to, as I say, it's a 0 point energy for the generations that are coming, the next generation. So there's a purpose to all of this. And know that, you know, the dark night of the soul is exactly all of what I just talked about, where everything is put up in the air, where everything just seems to not make sense. And know that there are people out there that can resonate with this and can guide you through that. I am one of those people that has been through the experience of healing all the past traumas through myself and through my mom and my grandma, generational trauma. And also, so this is, you'll hear this a lot as well, generational trauma. So this is kind of how I explained it in the beginning. And this is why we're awakening, and what it is for is healing of the collective energy and generational trauma. So if we want to think about we'll just start with the wars, okay? So we think about our grandparents, or our great-grandparents, like what it looked like to survive to them, how they raised their kids, no emotions, nothing. It had to be logical, because they were like fighting for their lives. And same with, you know, just it kept on getting brought down to each generation. And so now it's like these generations of not feeling or being blocked from the emotions, because emotions is actually part of like spirit. Emotions are energy. It is part of our spirit sense. It is part of all of us. And we have denied this because we've needed to, up until now, live. And now the way for us to survive is to connect. And honestly, the biggest way to connect is to actually disconnect. And so one of the things too in the awakening process is learning that it's all a fucking paradox. It is. I have never felt more connected in my life, and I completely disconnected from society for at least 1.5 years, and started to integrate into that, you know, 2.5, 3 years. So it's a process. Again, if you are experiencing any of this, you are not alone. And I want to thank you for being here and for choosing to come back to this time-space reality to be a bringer of light energy, to allow your light to shine. So I will be coming back on here and be bringing more of this wisdom that I have to share with you all next time. Sending so much love.